It's raining tacos from out of the sky. Tacos, no need to ask why. Just open your mouth and close your eyes. It's raining tacos.
What's up, everyone? Thank you for tuning in to the 9th episode of DeltaCo Fireteam Chat, the low sodium edition. I'm AudioReborn. We got Krakenfall, and we have a new guest. We got RaueDrakenhaart. What's up, guys? How you doing?
Hey.
Is that Rakenheart or Drakenheart?
It's Drakenhaart. It's cool, though.
My bad. So, as we normally do when we have a new guest, we would like to shed some spotlight on them and have them give a little bit of a backstory on their gamer tag.
Yeah, so my gamer tag is a reference to the first Dungeons & Dragons character I ever made. The typical lawful stupid paladin type.
Nice.
I've written this character into several other stories and campaigns as I've gotten older. I've run several D&D campaigns of my own. And so the character's evolved. And when it came to deciding what my gamer tag should be, I went with what was the most familiar for me.
Cool.
That's cool.
How old is the gamer tag?
I'd have to say 2009. I think 2009. On Xbox. Various other places like Battle.net from like way back in the day with StarCraft and Warcraft 3 would be
Nice.
that would be like 2001, something like that.
Yeah. Cool.
I remember playing Warcraft 3. So much fun. All right. So, anybody have any interesting happen to them during Destiny this week? You know, got the new Curse of Osiris. So I'm pretty sure some of y'all got something to talk about.
So I wasn't able to play much this week. Unfortunately, I did log in after last podcast to buy and use the Prometheus lens, which I got to say was a blast.
Yes.
I was, I expressed my concern about it last podcast that it would just be something fun that Bungie's going to take away, and then Destiny 2 isn't fun anymore, because it was that little shining light. But I'm glad I did because I had a lot of fun. I found out, I think Grenader Jake or Slarage was, I don't remember. I think it was Grenader, was saying that if you burst fire like a scout rifle, not burst fire, if you just pulse it like a scout rifle, it kills them faster. And I wasn't having as much fun just trying to beam people to death, but when I started pulsing it, like, it was an insta-kill. It was like 3 shots as fast as I could pull the trigger, and actually the footage the video used in the last week's podcast was some of that, so that was fun. I actually logged in for some solo play for that because, pretty much everything I did was load into the match, insta-kill everyone, rinse and repeat. It was so fun. But
That's pretty awesome.
yeah, I was intending to play more of the story for Curse of Osiris, but I had a family member who's passing, so I had to fly out to another state, and I was gone half the week. So.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. That's
Sorry to hear that, Kraken.
Oh well, thanks. It's one of those things. It's a life thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm hoping to play some this weekend, but I'm gonna see Star Wars, so who knows?
I'm actually gonna go see Star Wars tomorrow.
Oh, nice. Well, that's same here.
I'm seeing Star Wars
Awesome.
on Sunday, so
Nice.
Boys. All right. What about you, Rao?
So in Destiny this week, since last week, I've just basically gotten the Prometheus lens, and can confirm it is crazy fun. I am a little disappointed that the update that happened that we'll be talking about soon nerfed it way harder than even Bungie intended, because it certainly isn't as fun getting on this week to play around with it as it was last week. But while it was fun, it was crazy. I love just running around killing ads. just being, instead of doing the DPS on the boss kind of thing, just running around killing all the enemies was super fun because it reloads automatically on kill. And
Yeah. I played a bit of that too. It was really fun. I actually ran out of ammo like
yes,
3 or 4 times in mission, and I had to switch. It like, yeah, it was. I like that gun.
yeah, definitely. Other than that, I got a faded engram today.
Mm-hmm.
I got the what is that called? The Cabal Scout rifle. I can't remember the name now.
Oh yeah.
The one that fires automatic.
Yeah,
No. Oh, does it?
Yeah, it has.
It's automatic.
It's fully automatic, and when you aim down sights, it shoots slower, but does a lot more damage.
And it shoots through shields. Skyburner's Oath.
Skyburner's Oath, yes.
Yeah, Skyburner. Yeah.
Yes.
It's a solar. Yeah.
I wanted that so bad when I was going through the vanilla campaign, because people who got it early said that it just completely. It was one of the most fun things that they did, was playing their second and third characters with it. So I was a little disappointed that I didn't get it then, but I played around with it a bit, and it's a hell of a lot of fun. It's really noticeable, the amount of extra damage it does to Cabal enemies. So
Yeah.
Yeah, especially on a Nightfall, man, it just burns right through the shields.
mm-hmm.
I got that, I think, the first or second week of Destiny 2 on console. So I played that. I used it pretty heavily until I got my Mida. And yeah, it was pretty fun. I think it actually gave me a little more rosy view of Destiny than some of the other people out there, but because it was one of those unique exotics that was actually exotic. It actually had it, not a gimmick, but it had its unique, perks and feel. I just wish it was more effective in Crucible, but oh well. I do enjoy
Yeah.
seeing every single enemy that I kill just like incinerate. It was great.
Yeah.
Well, I've had a pretty decent week in Destiny 2 as well. I haven't gotten to play a whole lot. I've just had a lot of things going on in real life. But the main thing that I've been doing is just grinding out strikes in Crucible for the the advanced paradox things for the I got verse 10 from the Forge, so I've been working on that. So just lots of strikes, lots of Crucible. I did some milestones, but other than that, I got the full set of Mercury armor on my Titan.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that looks pretty cool, especially with the Saint 14 helmet. But other than that, not a whole lot. All right, so Curse of Osiris. It's been out for like a week now, week and a half, and we've had some time to play with it. So I was just want to touch base with you guys and see if there's anything that you would have liked to have seen. And when I say that, I'm just talking about like little things. We can get into the bigger things later, but just for the little things, what would you have liked to have seen, if anything, really?
I don't know how big or small this is, but I think a little tweaking to the way that mods work currently. I'm not talking about like an overhaul of that system. I'm sure they're looking at doing something like that in the future. What I'm talking about is just a little tweak to how things work, because we have 50 slots for that to hold mods, and there's like 80 of them. And I think that there's some redundancy in the like different like grenade, class ability, and melee cooldown mods that don't really need to be there. Specifically, I'm talking about how they're keyed to the different subclasses. I personally don't think that's helpful, and it really clutters up that space. And I feel like just a little tweak like that would have been a good first step towards overhauling a lackluster system. and I was a little disappointed that they didn't really put any effort into that for
Yeah.
Curse of Osiris.
It's not even just the subclass. It's melee abilities, and then class abilities, and then grenades, and then each of those have the subclass variants, and so they just kind of split everything out, and then created the combinations of them, and that's a really lazy way of doing it. I would, on that vein, I would like to see either double space for mod, like how many mods you can hold, double it,
Mm-hmm.
or eliminate the class specific ones.
Well, my idea was something I've noticed as a person that likes to collect all the armor sets from vendors. So I'm going to use Zavala as an example in the tower. So if you go to Zavala, you can buy you could buy the whole armor set if you have the coin. But my thing is when you get down the line, it's like, oh, well, you can't buy this until you had X amount of reward packages. Well, how do I know how many reward packages I have left? It's not displayed anywhere.
Oh, it's not?
It's not.
That's
no.
silly.
I mean, not that I'm aware of. I didn't see anything. I even restarted the game and I went back and there's still no number. So I think that might be a way for Bungie to bring back the rank system for factions.
Yeah. I don't get why they don't have the rank system. It's just
it's really silly to me. So just to play off that idea, like you have the rank system, right? Remember in D1 when you hit rank 20 or 25, you got the exotic quest line for the exotic what was it, the exotic mark, right?
Yeah, the exotic class item.
Now let's say you get all the armor, right? And then you do the grind, and to get all the ornaments, when you unlock all the ornaments and you apply them, I think it'd be really cool if you could if it would unlock something kind of like Masterworks, but for armor. How do you guys feel about that?
Well, I mean, they're going to be putting Masterworks on armor soon, so that
are
makes
they?
sense. Yeah.
Did they already say that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Some interesting tweets from the one of the lead system designers for D2. Some people were asking about some things, making some generally positive comments about how Masterwork weapons is the right sort of grind for Destiny, and that they enjoyed that. And I tend to agree. Someone, I think Gathalion, asked about Masterwork armor, and he responded to Gathalion saying that Masterwork armor is something that he would like to see very much as well, with a winky face, which is not explicit in saying that it's something that's going to happen, but it's definitely a pretty
Suggestive.
It's pretty much
Right.
like, this is something that's on our radar. Like, we're going to try to do this.
I didn't know that.
I thought they had actually confirmed. I thought it was either on stream or no, it wasn't on stream. I thought they said in a post this is something that we'd like to extend to armors, but this is not planned for this update. But I could be wrong.
I haven't seen that, but it's entirely possible that it was there.
Maybe year 2. Year 2.
I hope earlier than then.
Oh well, I had no idea that they had even said that. Okay.
So for changes, I kind of piggybacked on Raue's comment, but the changes that I'd like to see are just the ones that have been talked about over and over again. I don't necessarily need to go back to the Destiny 1 weapon slot, but I need special weapons to be special. I need, shotguns, snipers, and what was the other fusion rifles to go back to something that's actually fun and special to use. Because rockets are the choice. I think shotguns are probably the most used former special weapons, but whatever system, kinetic and energy is not working, and it's stupid. And it's screwing everything up. I don't really get how they went from the primary special heavy to primary, energy, which is also primary, heavy, which has special weapons and not special weapons, or heavy weapons and special weapons, and like it was a stupid choice. Like I don't get, yeah, it's a stupid choice.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that.
So whatever system they need to go to is fine with me, but not this. And then I'd like pretty much what Reddit has been asking for, which is, no glimmer consumption on shader application, or if there is, then maybe unlimited use shaders, and then all of the vault space and like mod and shader capacity should be doubled or tripled. Like there's no we're on next generation hardware. There's no reason they can't do that crap. I mean, I get they have like memory limits for like RAM to load that stuff, and I know since it's a online storage, like they've got database calls to make to put the vault stuff in your inventory as you see it. So that that's taxing and that's a lot of web traffic. So there's some optimization that has to be done there, but like they already with the API, they already package things up in little bundles. So when you make a call to the database, it gives you all of everything that you need for your character. Like this is a solved problem as of Destiny 1. Like why can't we with this new hardware and this faster stuff be better?
I still don't understand why we can't delete multiple shaders at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
But speak on the. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna ramble. So go ahead.
I don't know. Just you were talking about the API, and it reminded me of something that I saw on a couple days ago. Apparently, Bungie opened up their API, and now third-party apps like Dim and Ishtar Commander and things like that, they're going to be adding a way for you to pull stuff from the Postmaster.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's gonna be awesome.
Yep.
So less trips to the tower.
Yeah, that's an improvement. That's a positive. Good mention.
Yeah.
That's a quality of life improvement I can get behind.
I mean, I'd really like them to fix the Bungie Net features so that the same features from Destiny 1 era were on Destiny 2. Like, looking at how many medals you have and what medals you have, and looking at your character stats.
Yeah, I shouldn't have to go to a third-party site for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
I thought they were ending that.
Yeah.
Whatever.
All right. So on to the next piece of news here. So I don't really know too much about this topic, but so apparently when the Curse of Osiris came out, it created some locked content. I'm not quite sure. Kraken, do you know about this?
Rao might be able to back me up here, but what happened was when the DLC launched, there were certain playlists and certain activities that they required you to have the DLC for. So we're thinking Prestige Nightfall, Prestige Raid, you had to have the DLC for, because I don't know if it was for the Raid Lair or whatever, but Trials was also locked behind that. And Iron Banner and the faction rallies were also locked. I think there was probably one or two more things, but I think that's the gist of it.
It was going to be the Dawning was also going to be.
Yeah, and so wow. we talked about it a little bit last podcast, and I need to stop referencing podcasts, but it's kind of encouraging that there are so many people on the Destiny subreddit. There's so much engagement, and that indicates a growth of the Destiny player population, which is awesome. What that comes with is a lot of people that aren't used to the practice that Bungie has done for the last 3 years, or 3.5 years, which is when DLC comes out, you got to buy it to be current, and if you don't, your actual playable content is limited. Well, everyone that's new here, the PC players, etc., are effing pissed. They got so mad. To the point, it's another scandal in the same vein as the XP cap, XP throttling, yeah. And so there were posts after posts, 6K, 8K posts, 8K upvote posts about this stuff, just like venting and saying this is absolute crap. We aren't standing for this, and it bubbled up to the point that Bungie had to come out and say, you know what, this is a system that we had planned, or these are things that we thought made sense, but they obviously don't make sense, so we're gonna fix this. But you know, it's easy as a Bungie fanboy to like look at their response and be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Well, I'm glad that they are listening to the community and like this is really positive, but like, you know, some of the things they said, like one, Iron Banner and faction rallies are going to be um, unlocked and anybody can play them. And then Prestige raid issue was that, you know, you couldn't get the Prestige um, achievement anymore, and so they're unlocking that to make it so everyone could play that too. But like one of the questions that I had that, you know, they never really answered, and I'm sure plenty of other people have this question, is like why? Well, because one of the systems changes is that it will only be locked out. Like trials will only be locked out if it's a DLC map. So you won't be able to play trials that weekend if there's a DLC map. Like, why wasn't it like that
Then don't
before?
make it a DLC map.
Well,
Exactly.
no, they could have it. You know, it's okay if it's a DLC map. That makes sense for the customer not to be able to play it if they don't have the DLC. But why was the whole Trials playlist locked out, regardless of whether or not it was a DLC map? Like that, you know, despite me not, I don't like to like slam on a company more than I'm not going to get hyperbolic and be like, just Bungie, they're cronies, they're trying to suck money out of my wallet, and you know they aren't servicing me either. Like, no, why wasn't it that logical system in the first place? That's what it used to be. And so I don't know. Bungie keeps on doing interesting things that in my book are like
Questionable
a
things.
little crappy. Yeah, it's questionable. It's not damning, but it's questionable. And it's like, guys, what are you doing? So that's my comment on it.
My response to a lot of these things is, well, my first thought is how much of this is Activision and how much of this is Bungie, and there's no way to know, obviously, but from all the things that Destiny 2 does right, like really right, I can tell that there's a lot of people at Bungie that have a good vision for what this game is supposed to be. And then for all of the things that the game just inexplicably does wrong that Destiny 1 did right, I have to wonder why. Why is it so hard to do the thing that you did before in a lot of these cases? And I get it. It's supposed to be a new experience for new players, and they want to provide a new jumping in point for PC players and people who didn't give Destiny 1 a chance. But in my opinion, some of the ways they've been trying to do that aren't the way you do that. And I personally have been pretty disappointed. I appreciate Bungie for owning up to their mistakes and saying, okay, this is clearly something that we thought would be good, and it's not, so we're not going to do it. And very few companies actually have the balls to do something like that. So I appreciate that out of them. But I'm not going to let them off the hook, because I gave them 3 years in Destiny 1 of this, and I'm not waiting 3 more years for Destiny 2 to become an amazing game. I expected it to be amazing when it came out, and it wasn't as amazing as I thought it would be. And so since Destiny 2's launch, I've been a little more wary of, you know, how Bungie is going forward. And I think a lot of the outrage on Reddit was a combination of a few bad things happening in a row. The internal push towards Eververse, the XP throttling, and then the content being locked out, I think all happened really, really close to each other, and that didn't help anything. But one idea that they talked about specifically what had to do with adding a third difficulty so that they could continue doing their vision of keeping all of the raid and endgame content relevant for players going forward. I'm going to mirror your sentiment, Kraken. Why wasn't that the way it was to begin with? Like,
Well,
why?
It's like they didn't learn their lesson.
Like
Seriously.
like it makes no sense to not add that playlist. Like, Bungie's all about adding new playlists to things. I remember Destiny 1. Every time there was a new update, there was a new playlist for something. If the idea was already something that I guess what I'm trying to say, if it was an idea that they were able to articulate so quickly in response to the backlash, why wasn't that already something that was planned to be a part of the system to begin with? Leave the normal and prestige versions that launch with a given expansion as is accessible, and then add a third option that scales with whatever the latest content is to keep it relevant.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, that's an idea that lots of us had before they brought the year one raids from Destiny 1 in Age of Triumph. Before they brought them up, that's what a lot of us were asking for already in Destiny 1. And I don't know. That's as much as I care to really pontificate about this stuff. But yeah, I agree with you, Kraken. It's in audio. It's like they didn't really learn their lesson, and that I think that's the most concerning thing to me.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're talking about. I was actually thinking about that earlier today. Like, I was just like, they really did not learn their fucking lesson. It's like they took 3 steps forward and 2 steps back. Like, I'd be okay, like, because when I heard about Destiny 2 coming out, I was like, oh shit. At the end of Destiny 1, it was great. And I wasn't expecting it to be like you know, Age of Triumph level, but I was expecting the launch of D2 to be like the Taken King.
Yeah.
Like something like vanilla plus the Taken King. I was expecting it to be like that. But it's like I don't know, it's I don't know, man.
So, you know, in context of Destiny 1 and the flow and progression of the development for that game, and then the you know, the reality of Destiny 2 and the current flow and progression of that, of the development and the design, experience design, I get the impression that the product designers, you know, like the whoever's on the lead and makes the design decisions about how players interact with the systems, which I'm guessing is the lead developer or, you know, lead engineer or whatever on the project. It feels like they are concerned, like they are of the opinion that they are really good at their job and they know what's going on. They know how to craft an experience, you know, and so they're going to do what they want. And they, you know, screw the haters, screw whoever thinks, you know, otherwise, either on their team or the customers. Like, you know, I'm just going to do this and this is what we're going to do. And, you know, I'm smart, so that's going to be a good system. And, you know, the live team, on the other hand, is like, you know, what is fun? How can we craft a fun experience? You know, how can we make this game repeatable, you know, replayable, rewarding? You know, the 3 R's. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it they're concerned about the fun, and I really have enjoyed most of the live teams changes. Destiny 1 got better significantly from year to year, in my opinion. Except for the sidearm meta, I hated that. But they
Yeah.
crafted a great experience, and Destiny 2 for now has been driven by that first product designer or whatever, whatever job they have, whoever is the person that makes those decisions. And WTF? Like all of these stupid things, like these 2 steps back, one step forward, 2 steps back. That's what it seems to me. And I'm just hoping that now that the live team is in control, we're gonna have the fun police back at the helm. So it's just unfortunate reality of software development is it takes a long time, especially with their systems. It's super convoluted. So we're not gonna see anything till hopefully as soon as end of January, February. But
Yeah.
But the thing that I don't understand is, you understand, Bungie has 3 studios working on Destiny 2. 3 studios on Destiny 2.
Okay.
And then this is all that we have?
Can I
Like,
just interject right there? Like that doesn't mean shit. Like I know
Yeah.
software development, and you can't just throw more people at the problem and actually expect progress. So unfortunately, software development is a bit more complicated than that, especially when it comes to customer experiences. Like with a movie, you can have a bunch of people working on it, and like you have the storyboarding, and you can just everyone looks at the storyboarding and everyone puts their part in towards the end product. But in a video game, the end product is always changing, always morphing. If you rewrite a system here, then that affects everything across the board. The only thing that's not going to change is like the textures and the visuals and stuff like that. So unfortunately, having 3 studios isn't going to change a whole lot. And I should say one of those studios is dedicated only to porting it to PC. So that's not going to make much
Hey.
difference. Yeah.
Those PC thrones, man. But yeah, and the things that we're talking about around are stuff that I've been thinking about pretty much all week.
Yeah.
And I went back and I listened to the Bungie podcast again, and they were talking about the things that they have to do when creating a game and the decisions that they make. And I don't know who said this, but they basically, the way when they make a game and they decide what they're going to do, they break the player base down into 3 eras. You got the tourists, which are pretty much like the people that play the game for a little bit, and then they just put it down and they never touch it again. And then you got the collectors, which are the people, like me, who get on and just collect everything. And then you got the hobbyists, which are people like Ronan, who get on and they just they bang the rate out like every week. And, and it's, I really feel like this game has been created solely, well, not solely, but for the most part for the tourist. Because they gotta bring in more people. They want to bring in a larger player base. Yeah. They gotta make money. I understand they got bills to pay and servers to run and creators to pay. But they're forgetting. I really feel like they're forgetting about the collectors and the hobbyists. And most of the hobbyists are the people that have been around since like D1 Alpha.
Yeah.
And
Well,
and I feel like there should be like some kind of, they need to meet some kind of a middle ground, because if they don't do that, like say like by year 2, they're going to lose a vast majority of their player base.
So I'm glad you brought that up, because yes, they did design it for the tourists so they could get as many sales as possible. But one of the things that, like, it seems is that they expected the hobbyists to stick around. They expected it to be good for the hobbyists too. Like that makes no flipping sense to me.
No sense at all. Absolutely not at all.
And like one of the things that is a fallacy, in my opinion, I'd actually have to go look up the fallacy that I mean, but a lack of depth in the systems is deleterious. It's bad for the tourists too. The tourists are going to recognize, oh, there's no depth in this system, and they're going to leave even faster. And they're going to tell their friends, that wasn't very fun, because of a lack of depth. And if you give depth, if you give systems, as long as you're not like putting everything to RNG and making the carrot, across the river, like you're going to hook everyone. And I think the only reason they didn't hook everyone in Destiny 1 at the beginning was because their story was shite. Like, if their story was better, I think they would have had so many more hobbyists. And so now that they got the story... Go ahead.
I would say some people probably would argue with you the fact that there was even a story at all, you know.
Well, yeah.
but anyway, I just had to say
Yeah.
it, man. I'm sorry.
Well, now that there's a story in Destiny 2, like, I, d- they had to fuck the other thing up. Like, come on, guys. You're so close to giving a system full of depth and full of rewarding loot
I
and
mean,
just
speaking of 2 steps forward and 1 step back, like I was never the sort of person who was incredibly interested in hunting down all of the grimoire cards,
sure.
but I spent probably half as much time as I spent playing the game. I think I'm at 1,300 hours in Destiny 1. I spent about half of that on top of that, reading through and making connections with the grimoire. Because while the story didn't have much legs to stand on until The Taken King, a lot of what informed The Taken King and Rise of Iron was solely found in those grimoire cards. And taking that out of the game was a huge mistake,
Yeah.
in my opinion. And there's no way they can really add it in now.
Yeah.
They've built it in such a way that the only way they could do something similar is all those things you can scan in the environment. If they added a part of the UI where you could listen to those things again if you scanned them.
Which I don't think would be that hard because they've been working in this engine for a while. But
Yeah.
like they have so many options, especially lore-wise. Like, you know, it just popped to me just a second ago, like you could make it so like maybe the Fallen broke into the Clovis Bray research facility and like scattered data nodes everywhere. So like you start uncovering data nodes for the Vex research, you know, the research on Vex that they covered a little bit in the Grimoire in Destiny 1, but you know, for the Curse of Osiris, they could have done a collection quest, not quest, but a collection side thing where you could go collect Clovis Bray data nodes, and you'd get either, you know, voice recording, which I know is expensive, so you could do just data like text, you know, stories. You could put the lore in there. I mean, I don't know.
Or like you can go through it and you can find, you can like if it's encrypted, you can decrypt it and it unlocks like a quest line for like an exotic or
Yeah,
a
either
weapon,
that,
or
or I was thinking more along the lines of like a grimoire thing where you could actually look
Oh.
at it and read it whenever you want. But
I never read the grimoire until Destiny 2 anyway.
well, I don't blame you. It wasn't in the game.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it was on the website for a really long time. I was like, what the fuck is grimoire? Is that even a word? Like,
So something, this is a little off topic, but something that I had thought of towards the end of Destiny 1 about the grimoire is that it was a missed opportunity. They could have left it exactly the same as they did and made it a part of their marketing for the game by making it so that grimoire cards dropped as extremely rare drops. So think like exotic engrams, how they were before Rise of Iron, how infrequently they dropped. Have something like that. Maybe make them red or gray or something like that, and you pick them up, and it has this little card that has a bit of the lore on it.
No, that would be cool.
And like instead of making it so that you're like, oh no, we didn't have a story, so here's this bare bones skeleton thing. Make it like, yeah, the story is actually bare bones skeleton because the whole point is that we want you to discover the story.
Yeah.
Right? That's just a thought that I had at the end of Destiny 1 about one way they could have avoided some of the frustration. I mean, obviously it wouldn't work for everyone.
Yeah.
but it would have been a path
Yeah.
anyway.
I think the main criticism in Destiny 1 was that it was not in game, and so
Yeah.
we just wanted it in game. I actually enjoyed going from, ghost to ghost. Actually just like spending time. Like at first I didn't look it up. I just was like started exploring, and exploring was a huge thing. And I know clan member Karandon, who I used to play with a whole lot in Destiny 1. We played probably 600 of my 1300 hours together. We would just go exploring. Like, what do you want to do today? Well, I'm just exploring the Cosmodrome. Cool. Let me join you. And we just shoot around and, oh, found a ghost. Cool. I have that one already. Or, whatever. And it's like, it was a good system. It just wasn't in the game. So maybe we can get that in the game.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
So my final thought on this before we continue here, it's something that I saw on, I can't remember what it was on, but I believe it was Say No to Rage, and he said that Destiny 2 it's 10, he said it was 10 feet wide and 1 foot deep. Basically, you have all these really great ideas, but none of them are fleshed out.
Yeah.
That really speaks to me. So I just feel
I can
like
agree with that.
if Bungie, and if Bungie could just really focus, not take focus away from the people that are new, but if you want more longevity in this game and you want to keep the good majority of your player base, you really need to kind of cater to the hobbyists and the collectors. Give them some things to do while also kind of, catering to the new people as well. Because really right now with all the shit that's in the game, the new people, if you're starting, you have a lot of shit to do. You shouldn't have to worry about too much right now. But that's just my final thoughts on that.
Last thing I want to say before we close out this topic in particular is that I disagree that you should cater to the casuals, not the casuals, but the tourists at all, because if a game is deep and you only have 10 hours to play it in a month or whatever, or you're only going to play it 10 hours, like if you get a drop that like if the game makes you feel like it's a wide, expansive game and there's so much you could get and everything might be useful, like that's a good feeling to have. Even if you're not going to play it for very long, you should always be trying to turn your tourist into a hobbyist. Because if a tourist becomes a hobbyist, maybe they might not have as much time as hardcore hobbyists, but like that's a sign that your game is good. So if you set the bar really low, you're going to have a low quality game. So
to piggyback on that real quick, I had this thought. Make the barrier to entry on your game low enough that the tourists can get in, but then make the depth of the systems deep enough that once they're in, they're in. I think Destiny 1 Taken King forward was very much like that.
Yeah.
That would require a lot of in-game, which we don't have. Yeah. All right. Next topic. So we are getting the Dawning, which is the annual winter event that we get every year. So the Dawning, let me get my notes here. Right. So the Dawning is the winter event. It looks like we're going to be getting snowball fights, which would be cool. We're getting Mayhem back in the Crucible. I don't know if I'm cracking you.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we're getting Mayhem, man. It's going to be awesome.
Could be fun.
Yeah, could be.
It'll just show how unbalanced all the different classes are. But anyway.
You see everybody's screaming nerve. So, sorry if I'm chopping this up. I'm trying to. I had the dates. Okay, so the Dawning starts December 19th, which I believe is this. Is it this Tuesday or next Tuesday?
That would be this Tuesday.
No. Okay, so it starts this Tuesday, December 9th, and it's going to be going for 3 weeks, up until January 9th. So some of the things, I'm just going to go through this real quick. We're getting snowball fights. Mayhem is going to be back in the Crucible. Milestones of Winter. Engage in the Crucible. Mayhem more. And it looks like we're getting strike rewards too.
So it'll just be new consumables like every Destiny 1 event. So you'll have some themed stuff. There's Dawning themed Eververse stuff. And then there's a gift giving system, which I'm kind of interested to see what that's about. I don't know how that's going to work. It's probably going to be just the consumables where you run up to someone instead of trick or treating like the Festival of the Lost in Destiny 1. You just run up to people and give them stuff, and then they open it up, and it's like a random, frosted raisins or something.
Some burnt celery.
Yeah. So, all in all,
that's
actually
cool.
a pretty cool event. I'm hoping it'll be fun.
It looks like it'll be fun.
Yeah, the armor sets. I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe the Dawning armor sets are heavily based on the Dawning armor sets from Destiny 1 Year 3.
That Titan helmet.
I know, I love that helmet. When I got that helmet last year, I was like, I wore it everywhere. I think my Titan is still wearing it on D1. And I want that helmet at least, but the rest of the armor too, it's just really good. It'll actually get me to play the game more than Curse of Osiris did anyway.
Yeah.
All right. So, I'd like to thank you guys for listening. If you'd like to get in contact with us, you can contact us at DeltaCo Fireteam Chat at gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter at DeltaCo_71. We upload our podcast onto YouTube. Like it, leave a comment, tell us what you think. Maybe we'll get in, we'll discuss it a little bit. The audio versions are on SoundCloud, and now we're on Stitcher. And I hope you have a great day. Peace.
It's raining tacos.